why does this have to be a thing? What is the reason and what is the purpose? I'm getting tired of this. I'm getting tired of this tomfoolery. What is with you guys? Your very strange obsession with taking very cute and cuddly cartoon characters and turning into them almighty godlike beings. We've got Katie from Horton. Here's a Who. I don't even know who the hell that is. I did Horton Here's a Who for the school play in the 6th grade. I was casted as a monkey. We didn't even have Katie, so that should explain a lot. Katie Theory, the demon of Horton Here's a Who. This is gonna spiral. This is going to spiral out of control, beyond human comprehension, farther than humans could ever thought to be perceived.
I approach you today with a specimen so...
Do you see that? This is about to be so intense you had to start off twice.
I approach you today with a specimen so disturbing, so suspicious, and so anomalous that it's taken me 5 years to fully process. I've carved out a career in creating the taxonomy of the eldritch horrors of kids' films, and I'm still in the process of creating my 15-hour-long dissertation on Mort from Madagascar as mere preparation for this. The only being to completely shake me to my core out of pure incomprehension. It's a character from the self-aware cosmic horror
The only being to shake this man to his core. That says a lot. That says a whole lot. The journeys, the escapades, the adventures we have been on, led by our favorite mad scientist himself. And this is the one that snaps. This is the one where he draws the line.
Story distilled for kids known
I don't think I could be emotionally prepared for something like this.
as Horton Here's a Who. Like Mort, this character is intentionally mysterious and creepy as a sort of ironic parody. Regardless of whether it's ironic or not, though, it exists and therefore has lore to it. This being is not the main character of this film. It's not even relevant to the genocidal dictator Karen Guru villainess that threatens the stakes of this story. It's just a small, little, confusing thing that goes totally unexplained and certainly doesn't belong there. I'm going to explain this weird joke, and then use it to flesh out the cosmic convergences and quantum entanglement this film literally mentions as brief offhand comments. Every film
Quantum convergences and quantum entanglements, dude. I don't like this. This is already going into places where I didn't want it to go. My brain is gonna start hurting. I'm gonna start feeling physical and emotional pain.
has at least
We
one
haven't even started yet.
thing that doesn't make sense.
I've already
in it.
got
One little thread
anxiety.
You can tug at, whether it's a plot hole or not. You can tug at it. Even kids' films, again, whether intentional or not, as you should be able to tell from my channel. This is no exception. Sometimes these threads lead to predicting the next episode of a TV show. Sometimes they answer intentional mysteries, which is the area where fan theories start to come in, or at least try to. Sometimes, though, they can help better explain things the film chooses not to care about, such as speculation on the lore that isn't well explained in the film. And in this instance, the thread we are tugging at today is Katie.
Oh, dear God, dude. You guys can go and spank his sub button, but I'm giving you a fair warning. You might lose all sense of sanity that you have left. Fair warning.
Hello, I'm the Theorizer. I shouldn't
Hey,
really have
man!
to explain this, but again, the Katie mystery is the perfect little thing to start digging at because it has all the staples of something that can be dug at. She's clearly strange and...
Kate, look at this. Look at this. You want me to look this thing in its eyes? Well, it's smiling at me. Cute, cuddly, and adorable. I just want to squeeze it. You want me to look this thing in the eye and think, oh, you see this? That thing right there? That is the demon of Horton Here's a Who. That's what you want me to do.
because it has all the staples of something that can be dug at. She's clearly strange, intentionally made to act bizarre and random. Beyond it being a joke, there is no given explanation for things like the very ending when Katie is floating through space, so I will give one. That's my rationale behind doing all of this, if you still don't know for some reason. Katie is just a quiet little yellow yak who hangs out with a few other kids in Horton's jungle. She's a part of his small class of students. As to what he is teaching them, I do not know. In her first scene, she appears in Horton's class last and smiles blankly into space before opening her mouth and going, She has some pretty sharp teeth and constantly spaces out. I do not know the evolutionary advantage of this. I will, though.
Oh yeah, no, this thing is evil. Oh yeah, do you see the look in its eye? Oh yeah, this thing is demonic. Absolutely. Absolutely.
She has some pretty sharp teeth and constantly spaces out. I do not know the evolutionary advantage of this.
Kind of like me. Sharp teeth, spaces out on occasion.
I will, though.
Strikes fear in its enemies' hearts.
I will.
Just
Later,
like
she
me.
is seen running in circles going, ah, with her mouth still open, a leaf bug.
I like that noise. Can you do that again?
Later, she is seen running in circles going, ah.
Thank you.
With her mouth still open, a leaf bug flies by and her tongue shoots out like a frog as she eats it up. Now that is abnormal. It doesn't die, though, and she goes, ah, again, causing it to fly out. Everyone is frightened by her presence. In a later scene, she stares off into another direction and then teleports behind Horton. At this point, all of the kids are inspired by Horton to make up imaginary pocket universes on their own clovers, and Katie says that on hers, everyone's a pony that eats rainbows and excretes butterflies. Weirded out, Horton hesitantly calls it
I think that's a life I want to live. Everybody eats rainbows and shits out butterflies, baby. Let's go! I think that'd be better than the objects that I'd be shitting out recently.
That eats rainbows and excretes
I
butterflies.
love that.
Weirded out, Horton hesitantly
Maybe I
calls
wouldn't
it
be in so much
beautiful.
pain
Her
all the
eyes
time.
then split apart and she sticks the clover on her head. She then gets up on her hind legs, sticks her arms out like a zombie, and moans, as she shuffles backward.
I like that noise too. Can you do that one again as well?
Her arms out like a zombie and moans,
Thank you.
as she shuffles backwards into the jungle. Katie seems very detached. She
She
bumps into
moonwalking.
things constantly, but the absolute most
hitting that mic.
inexplicable event that proves this is a thread we definitely should be tugging at is at the end, where it turns out she can fly. She goes, ah, and just
Do that again.
turns out she can fly. She goes,
I love the sound effects in this. Really spices things up. You know what I'm saying? Really enhances the flavor of the viewing experience, you know? Oh, we need more of this. We need more of the theorizer sound effects.
and just floats up into the void of the sky. It's not even some one-time joke either. We can see her floating in the background of the next shot, and then, in the very last scene of the entire film, in outer space, out from Horton's jungle world, we see she has transcended her world, which is, again, also a speck in space, and she now floats out in the vacuum, alive. Going, Not only does Katie definitely...
We gotta run that one back too. Don't run it back we need to do double taking back all the sound effects, dude.
Going, Not only...
That was a nice one. That one had levels.
Only does Katie definitely know the jungle is also on a speck, but I believe she knows a hell of a lot more than just that. Because for her to know that, it would require...
Oh my god, it's a message. It's a message. Think about it. Think about it. Whoville is just a tiny little world, a speck upon the tiny little clover in a much larger world inhabited by much larger beings, and that world is too nothing but a small speck upon a much larger Milky Way, upon a much larger and vast universe, floating aimlessly through space, dude. It's a message.
a lot more than just
Means something.
that. Because for her to
Dr. Seuss was a true philosophical genius.
know that, it would require her also knowing a ton of things beneath that fundamental fact. A ton of things that basically make this whole cosmic horror story work in the first place. Unlike Mort, who has seasons of material to work through, Katie is easier and thus will be a quicker solve. There's less of a...
I've seen this movie like one time. Isn't Katie in this movie for like 5 minutes? Like literally, Kate, like she's in the scene for like literally 3.5 seconds and that's it?
chance that I will encounter a plot hole, right?
How did we get here? Why? How did you look at this? How did you look at that character and we get to this point where we are doing this?
Flat-out logic as possible. Katie won't be any less horrific, though. In fact, she's possibly even more so. You see, Katie does not belong in the jungle. She's not a yak. She's posing as a yak. Quite poorly, might I add. Evidence number 1.
She's an impostor. That's very sussy of you. That's still funny, right? Among Us jokes, those are still funny.
Not a yak. She's posing as a yak. Quite poorly, might I add. Evidence number 1, she doesn't act like a yak. She has sharp teeth and a spring-loaded tongue with extremely strange and anomalous behavior to accompany these features. Evidence number 2, might I add. Evidence number 1, she doesn't act like a yak. She has sharp teeth and a spring-loaded tongue with extremely strange and anomalous behavior to accompany these features.
Sounds a lot like me.
Evidence number 2, she doesn't look like a yak. In fact, she looks like a clover.
I don't look like a yak either.
But more on that later. Evidence number 3, Katie very likely has no origin in this
I don't exist either!
jungle. What I mean is, I can't find a parent in this film that looks similar enough to her. The other kids all have distinct, almost identical parents that hang out with the helicopter Karen. Katie does not. This should be striking and shocking in itself. The fact
she's
that
an orphan.
The animators didn't care.
This is the real origin of Batman.
To show her parents is now deeper evidence that they intend more for Katie. There's the superficial evidence, like her floating in space, but on a deeper level of analysis, there's the fact that she has no parents, if you really think about it. So now, Blue Sky Studios is rewarding people who do a little digging. This proves it's intentionally deeper than meets the eye, which is just perfect because it means this little string I'm tugging at is extremely valid, and by extension, it means—
Dude, he keeps talking about this little string that he keeps tugging at, and this is gonna end up very detrimental to society, dude. It's gonna be like when you get just a little hangnail. You think it's just a little hangnail until you start tugging at it, and then it rips, and then it peels off all of the flesh on your entire left hand. That's what this is. That's what we are going to do. We're going to start tugging at this little string and then pull back the entire flesh, dude.
Katie is an undocumented creature. So with this in mind, let's go back and view her behavior through the lens
Just
of
not
her
gonna
being
end
a
well.
cosmic anomaly. Her going to space and blanking out is sensible now and puts into context what she might know about her world. It makes me inclined to think that her comment about rainbow-eating ponies is true. She's not like the other kids, and her reaction by backing up into the jungle should be further proof of that. So theoretically, if she's being serious here, what would that mean? Well, the likelihood that Katie could find another clover with a pocket universe on it is slim to none. So if she's being serious here, and it is her world, like she says, then it means Katie can create pocket universes spontaneously. The fact of the matter is, she looks more like a clover than a yak, and probably is some sort of pocket universe. Here's the thing.
Katie is God. Katie is God and the creator of all universes. We are here. We exist today solely because of Katie herself.
The original Whoville came from a yellow flower, but was it created there? It almost seems tucked down under the ground in a hidden area. There's a certain level of intent to all of this that makes me suspicious. Even weirder is how there's a whole sea of pink clovers that Vlad could drop the speck into. Very strange, and all of this is really inexplicable, but I seriously, legitimately think Katie is behind it all because she's the only character who has demonstrated substantial cosmic awareness and the capability to handle it. I have a theory I made exactly 4 years ago regarding a conspiracy within the Whoville government. It was very solid, it was bulletproof, it's a theory, and I've always
Within the Whoville government, dude! Now we're toppling patriarchies!
in the Whoville
This is too much for one man to be able to handle, dude!
government, it was very solid, it was bulletproof, it's a theory.
Need
And
the
I've always wanted to
Lorax,
tackle
bro.
the
Somebody
other
call
side of
him.
the
He gets
coin,
things
that
done.
being the world above Whoville, Horton's jungle. I think Katie is a gateway to the answer I'm looking for. Based on the final shot in the film, I'm more inclined to believe that each speck really is floating out there in space and that the mayor of Whoville really is the same size as Horton, but through quantum entanglement and cosmic alignments, various worlds can function as gateways to others in manners.
What if all of these are specks? All of these things that we're looking at on screens, what if these are specks? What if these are other Whovilles? Only this one up here on the left, this is Whatville. This is Whatville. This is Y-Town. This is Howtropolis.
Such as this, so entanglement in space and that the mayor of Whoville really is the same size as Horton, but through quantum entanglement and cosmic alignments, various worlds can function as gateways to others in manners such as this, so Horton can affect this speck.
Quantum? We're getting the quantum entanglements, dude. Now we got Will Smith and Jada coming in here doing entanglements. Ant-Man's coming in here playing with quantum physics, dude. Maybe the mayors of Whoville, bro. The Grinch is coming, bro. What go on?
Really is the same size as Horton, but through quantum entanglement and cosmic alignments, various worlds can function as gateways to others in manners such as
gateways?
this. So Horton can affect this speck, and it'll affect Whoville's actual planet out there in space because of how all the worlds are connected. It's like how the Grinch takes place on a snowflake, but not really. Or maybe the speck really was just that small, but I'm sure it probably fell from space because the conditions out there are much more stable than, well, on another speck. Point is, Katie knows all of this and uses it to her advantage. She's the only one who has transcended out into this void that contains every single speck, and she changes her size and teleports around. She doesn't seem remotely surprised. She doesn't seem remotely anything, just extant. Like an observer or caretaker of the worlds who projects herself as a character onto any world that needs her assistance at a given time.
I love the background
noticed that
music.
one of the mayor's daughters looked more like a human version of Katie, and also behaved similarly. Hetty is her name. This is more of an unfounded suspicion, though, regardless of how likely it is that Katie is the keeper of the multiverse. I say all of these things because of, again,
Katie is the keeper of the... We're just getting insaner and insaner, bro. Like, this, Katie is an almighty being with knowledge beyond human comprehension above of the vast complexities of the multiverse and gateways to parallel dimensions and quantum entanglements.
the intentional nature of the
And ponies, shit, and butterflies!
dynamics between the worlds. She is the eater of worlds who opens her mouth as a gateway to the
And eats worlds!
dynamics between the worlds. She is the eater of worlds who opens her mouth as a gateway to the void. Notice how she just leaves right after Whoville is saved. Seriously? 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 Seriously?
He's
She's all
lost
like,
it.
My job here is done. Back to the nothingness.
Originally, I thought Horton made Whoville up, and everyone ended the film indulging in his...
Whoville was real. I was there.
thought Horton made Whoville up, and everyone ended the film indulging in his psychosis. But then, to go a level deeper, I thought maybe it was actually the reverse, and everything was a way of the mayor coping with his stress to offload their existence to a fake god in the sky. But none of these add up, because the truth of the matter is everything is real and in its own plane. I also feel like the hippity-hoppity get-me-your-manager lady has a history with all of this because...
I love how he's just throwing shots at her this entire time. Like, he's just cooking her for just being a raging Karen. She absolutely is, and he is absolutely on point. I just love how he just is continuously just throwing strays for absolutely no reason.
I feel like the hippity-hoppity get-me-your-manager lady has a history with all of this because of her insane reluctance and such. Or maybe she was just a bullied creative in her youth. Or maybe she just fears a communistic uprising. Who knows? This film is loaded with messages and irony to the highest degree. It's
She bought a
unspeakably
minivan.
amazing. But there are too many possibilities regarding the characters outside of Katie, so let's go back to her and try looking at her physiology. So like all Lovecraftian abominations, Katie is unfathomable in her true form. We can catch a glimpse of it, though, through the cracks in her thin animal mask. She has teeth that can drill through tungsten, a tongue that can encompass worlds and consume them in a single gulp. Imagine looking up across the horizon and seeing...
And those eyes! Those eyes could cause fear in even the most worthy of opponents.
consume them in a single gulp.
Dude, Dude, Katie is dangerous. Katie is powerful.
Imagine
This is bonkers. Bananas.
looking up across the horizon and seeing what you think is the sun, only for it to turn around and reveal its razor-sharp fangs that lurch towards everything you've ever known at the speed of light. Then, darkness. You feel the sense of dread looming as everything disintegrates around you. You bear witness as your body painfully dissolves and your soul is ripped from your mind.
I feel that anyways.
You scream, but nothing comes out, for your mouth is long gone. You sense the silent agony of billions around you as you are obliterated one quark at a time until the space that once contained you ceases to exist on all levels of dimension. This
Sounds like my inner thoughts and
Langolier,
machinations.
head-ass, bitch-ass, dead-ass, bitch. The film even
Whoa! Where did that come from, Theorizer?
once contained you ceases to exist on all levels of dimension. This is Katie, Langolier, head-ass, bitch-ass, dead-ass, bitch. The film even brings
Talk
it
your
up when they
shit,
reference how they
queen!
could be on a speck being witnessed like ants from those above, directly teasing how we, the audience, are the ones above. Katie knows this. That's why she stares at us. In the end, the credits of reality roll, killing the world as we move on from the film and consume the next piece of media. Again, this is all speculative. I can always bring more
But it's
cohesion later,
just
but all I
a
know right now is
fucking
that Katie is
theory.
built to be suspiciously aware. All of that said, my fear of Katie has finally gone away. It relieves me immensely.
Mine is just starting to boil over, dude. I'm glad your fear of Katie went away, but mine is just getting started.
To know that I can finally pin Katie, at least as far as knowing that she's not what she says she is. That much is dead certain. It's much more terrifying to see Katie just walking around but not knowing the extent of her ability. I must say, that was a close one. I almost thought I was losing it for a second there.
Yeah.
Until next time, I'm here.
Dude, how did we get here? How do we get here? How do these things come into fruition? How do you look at something like Katie and think, oh yeah, quantum entanglements, godly world-eating, tongue, razor-sharp teeth, unicorns pooping butterflies. How do we get here?